House Lannister. House Lannister of Casterly Rock is one of the great houses of Westeros, one of its richest and most powerful families and one of its oldest dynasties. It was briefly the royal house of the Seven Kingdoms until their defeat in Daenerys Targaryen's war for Westeros. The Lannisters rule over the Westerlands. Their seat is Casterly Rock, a massive rocky promontory overlooking the Sunset Sea which has had habitations and fortifications built into it over the millennia. They are the Lords Paramount of the Westerlands and Wardens of the West. As the new royal house, they also ruled directly over the Crownlands from their seat of the Red Keep in King's Landing, the traditional seat of the royal family. House Lannister's heraldry consists of a golden lion on a crimson background, and their house words are "Hear me roar," which are rarely mentioned. Their unofficial motto, which is as well known as the official one, is "A Lannister always pays his debts," which is used much more often and mostly in negative context, though it can also be used in the original, literal sense. The incestuous relationship of Cersei and Jaime had been concealed in a conspiracy. Their son Joffrey Baratheon had claimed the Iron Throne on the premise that he was actually fathered by the late King Robert Baratheon. Lord Tywin was a key supporter of his reign in the War of the Five Kings. The Lannisters continued to hold sway when Tommen Baratheon ascended the throne, with Kevan Lannister as Hand of the King and Protector of the Realm, but lost their hold over Tommen to the Faith of the Seven, and, after destroying the Great September of Baelor, Cersei took the throne. With the deaths of Cersei and Jaime at the Battle of King's Landing, Tyrion is now the head of House Lannister and given up the crown in favor of an elective monarchy. It currently swears fealty directly to the King of the Undulls and the First Men, an office which is currently held by Bran Stark. History. House Lannister is one of the great houses of Westeros. Their lands are in the far west of the continent. Their seat is Casterly Rock, a castle on a rocky promontory overlooking the Sunset Sea. It overlooks the thriving city of Lannisport and sits atop the most productive gold mine in the Westerlands. They are the wealthiest family in the realm. Fair-haired, tall and handsome, the modern Lannisters are the blood of Undull adventurers who carved out a mighty kingdom in the western hills and valleys. Through the female line, they boasted descent from Lon the Clever, the legendary trickster of the Age of Heroes who swindled Casterly Rock from House Casterly. They used to rule the Westerlands as the Kings of the Rock before swearing allegiance to House Targaryen. They have since served the Targaryens and now King Robert Baratheon as the Lords Paramount of the Westerlands and Wardens of the West. The gold of Casterly Rock and the Golden Tooth has made them the wealthiest of the great houses. Tywin Lannister is the current head of the family. His father Tytos Lannister presided over a period of decline for the house, to the point that their vassals Houserain rebelled against Lord Tytos. Tywin put down the rebellion personally, extinguishing their house and re-establishing the fearsome reputation of House Lannister. His ruthlessness gave darker meaning to the common phrase "A Lannister always pays his debts" and was immortalized in the song The Rains of Castamere. Tywin has 3 children, Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion by his wife Joanna Lannister. Cersei is Queen of Westeros since Tywin arranged for her marriage to King Robert Baratheon, in exchange for his support in Robert's rebellion. She has a long-standing incestuous relationship with her brother Jaime. The two conspire to conceal their love and have passed their children, Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, off as being the product of Cersei's marriage. Game of Thrones, Season 1. In King's Landing, while the Silent Sisters prepare the body of Lord Jon Arryn, the former Hand of the King, Cersei and Jaime wonder if Jon discovered their secret and told someone else. They, their children, and Tyrion arrive at Winterfell as a part of King Robert's entourage. Following the kidnapping of Tyrion by Catelyn Stark, the Lannisters retaliate, first by a bloody encounter between Jaime and Eddard, and later by sending Gregor Clegane to raid the Riverlands. After Robert dies, the Lannisters gather troops and begin their war against the Starks and Tullis at the Golden Tooth. Game of Thrones, Season 2. While Tyrion prepares the capital for the imminent attack of Stannis, Tywin abandons Harrenhal and marches the Lannister troops to the city. The Lannisters, reinforced by the Tyrell troops, defeat Stannis at the Battle of the Blackwater. Tywin is formally appointed Hand of the King. The Lannisters form an alliance with House Tyrell. Game of Thrones, Season 3. While Jaime and Brienne are on their way to King's Landing, Tywin conspires with Walder Frey and Roose Bolton to destroy the Starks. Sansa is wed to Tyrion. Robb and many of his followers are killed at the Red Wedding by the Lannisters' collaborators. Game of Thrones, Season 4. To seal the alliance between the Lannisters and the Tyrells, Joffrey marries Margaery Tyrell, but gets killed during the wedding. Tyrion is accused of the murder and is tried. Despite their victory over the Starks, the Lannisters are in tremendous debt to the Iron Bank of Bravos. Tyrion demands a trial by combat. His champion, Oberyn Martell, is killed by Gregor Clegane at the trial by combat. Jaime releases Tyrion, who kills their father before escaping. Game of Thrones, Season 5. A funeral is held for Tywin at the Great September of Baelor. Meanwhile, at Pentos, Varys and Tyrion plan to serve Daenerys Targaryen. Jaime and Bronn travel to Dorne to bring Myrcella back. They encounter the Sand Snakes, and arrested by Martell guards. They settle the matter with Prince Doran and depart from Dorne. Jaime tells Myrcella the truth of her parentage, and suddenly she dies, poisoned by the Sand Snakes. Tyrion is kidnapped by Jorah Mormont, who tells Tyrion he intends to take him to the Queen. They are captured by a group of slavers, and eventually meet Daenerys, who accepts Tyrion as an advisor. After Daenerys departs from Meereen, Tyrion and more of her loyalists govern the city. Cersei attempts to undermine House Tyrell, but her plan backfires and she is apprehended by the Faith. Kevan takes over the city as Hand of the King and Protector of the Realm. Cersei reluctantly performs the humiliating Walk of Atonement. Game of Thrones, Season 6. Following Cersei's downfall, Kevan Lannister serves as the Hand of the King and Protector of the Realm for young Tommen. Following the intense standoff, Tommen reaches an agreement with the High Sparrow. Subsequently, Jaime is dismissed from the Kingsguard and travels to the Riverlands, where he resolves the Second Siege of Riverrun. The day of the trial for Loras and Cersei, the Great September explodes from wildfire by a plot by Cersei and Qyburn, killing all of those inside, including the High Sparrow and the other sparrows, the Tyrells, Kevan, and Lancel. Though Cersei has succeeded in wiping out nearly all of her primary enemies, her last surviving child Tommen commits suicide. House Baratheon of King's Landing, and the main branch, House Baratheon, becomes officially extinct. With no opposition, Cersei ascends to the Iron Throne, thus elevating House Lannister as the royal family and establishing a formal Lannister dynasty, something her late father desired. Cersei is crowned queen. Game of Thrones, Season 7. Cersei and Jaime discuss their strategy and their enemies. They negotiate with Euron Greyjoy. In response to the threat of Daenerys, Cersei summons Lord Randall Tarly and other noblemen from the Reach. A vast Lannister army of 10,000 men abandons Casterly Rock at Cersei's orders and seizes Highgarden, thus eliminating House Tyrell and its forces. However, much of the Lannister army is later annihilated in a surprise ambush by Daenerys' troops. Jaime informs Cersei of the catastrophic casualties his army suffered. Cersei decides to hire mercenaries. At the Dragon Pit, the Lannisters gather with their enemies. Cersei seemingly agrees for a truce, but has no intention to honor her promise. She hires the Golden Company. Jaime resigns as a commander of the Lannister armies and rides to the north alone. House Lannister is effectively divided into two factions, one under Cersei and one under Jaime and Tyrion. Game of Thrones, Season 8. Euron returns with the Golden Company to King's Landing. Cersei receives Euron and Harry Strickland, the captain of the Golden Company. Jaime arrives at Winterfell and is allowed to stay in Winterfell to uphold his promise and fight against the army of the dead, which he does. Daenerys and her allies besiege King's Landing. Cersei refused to surrender. King's Landing is destroyed, and many of the Lannister survivors are killed. Both Cersei and Jaime are crushed by falling debris of the Red Keep. Following Daenerys' death, Bran Stark is chosen as the new king. Tyrion, the sole survivor of Tywin, becomes Lord of Casterly Rock and the Hand of the King. Military strength. Due to its wealth, House Lannister is capable of fielding thousands of troops. It is not mentioned how many of the 60,000 men, which Tywin rallies from the Westerlands in You Win or You Die, belong to House Lannister. As the richest house, the Lannisters' forces are among the best equipped in the Seven Kingdoms. However, the military strength of the Westerlands has been badly depleted due to the War of the Five Kings. Half of it was destroyed in the Battle of the Whispering Wood alone, as well as Daenerys Targaryen's war for Westeros. Battles against the armies of the north, the Baratheons, and later Daenerys' forces, have cut their numbers down to size. According to Tyrion, Casterly Rock alone, even by Season 7, still held a garrison of at least 10,000 Lannister soldiers, well-trained and provisioned. However, much of this army has been later destroyed by the Targaryen forces in the Battle of the Gold Road, and its remnants have essentially been wiped out in the Battle of King's Landing. Lannister armies seem to be more well-equipped than any other armies that Westeros could muster. This is particularly evidenced by the high-quality arms and armor forged directly in the Crownlands and Westerlands by skilled smithies and armorers. An advanced degree of standardization and role differentiation between cavalry, heavy infantry, archers and sappers is clear. Lannister soldiers are typically outfitted in excellent quality armor. Sturdy, red-dyed leather coated over augmented steel armor plates, in a striking combination. This smart design is not only aesthetically impressive as per Lannister lavishness, but also ergonomically practical, with the segmented armor allowing for ample mobility and flexibility for the wearer. They also have crested steel and leather helmets, with uniquely designed cheek visors which overlap when locked shut, forming a broad facial plate with small eye slots which still give good visibility. The horizontally arrayed crests on their helmets are a kind of defensive feature to deflect blade strikes. When the facial visors are opened, the soldier can get a better view of their surrounding vicinity, as well as talk with or to civilians more personally in their patrol duties or guard duties. The closed visors also give a deliberate resemblance to the face of a lion, looking directly forward towards it. Arguably, the design is as much for show as for practical effectiveness. Lannister armor and robes also use vast quantities of scarlet red and blood red dye across the Lannister military forces, universally. Cloaks, robes and underlayers padding the armor, the best that money could buy. They are well protected by ovate and rounded kite shields. Adorning these are intricately carved lions, and painted blazons/sigils of House Lannister, red and yellow gold being the main color palette. The ubiquitous style of the Lannister garments and armor and the spectacular marching formations as seen at Highgarden indicates a well-organized system of military procurement to militarily efficient standards. The Lannisters also command a modest fleet, berthed at Lannisport. The original fleet belonging to Lord Tywin directly was largely destroyed at anchor during the Greyjoy Rebellion in a preemptive strike, led by Euron Greyjoy. House Lannister has also developed 2 models of Scorpion ballistic artillery with the aid of Qyburn. The variant shown in Season 7 was used to injure Drogon. It is a lighter model and fired a more basic bolt as a projectile. Apparently only a single unit of this was built as a prototype and taken into service for Jaime's field army in S7. After this unit was destroyed by Drogon, Qyburn went back to the drawing board and improved the design considerably, with the second model of Scorpion Ballistae being a huge improvement on the previous design. The improved Scorpion Ballistae seen in Season 8 are bigger, heavier, more powerful and fire much more lethal bolts, apparently with design input by Euron, due to the opening, kraken-shaped bladed heads on the much larger and nastier bolts. These bolts visibly have greater penetrative power and can do terrible damage. They are used to brutal effect against both Rhaegal and a portion of Daenerys Targaryen's remaining fleet at Dragonstone. There were dozens of these artillery units, arrayed on the battlements of King's Landing and fitted to ships of the Iron Fleet, with specially trained Lannister and Greyjoy engineer crews manning them. Though deadly even to dragons, they were slow to reload as well as difficult to turn, due to their own size. None of Cersei's or Euron's artillery scored hits on Drogon, and all were destroyed by dragon fire in short order. The Lannisters have held sway with the threat of their potent military since shortly after Robert's rebellion ended. However, depleted by wars and hardships, the glory days of House Lannister's army are by now already long gone. Queen Cersei has enlisted 20,000 Golden Company mercenaries from Essos to help augment and boost their forces back up to a healthy level. However, both the Golden Company and the remaining Lannister forces have been decisively defeated, more accurately, brutally massacred at the Battle of King's Landing, by the combined Targaryen and Starkvale forces. Cadet branches. House Lannister is a very old and wealthy family, dating back to the Age of Heroes and the Undul invasion 6,000 years ago. As a result, it has produced numerous cadet branches and distant cousins of the main line, who have prospered as members of the minor nobility in the Westerlands for many years. In contrast, while House Stark is even older than House Lannister, due to the harsh conditions of the north, both low economic output and threat of wildling attacks, by the time of the War of the Five Kings, the Starks possess few if any cousins, and only one major cadet branch, House Karstark. Therefore, there are numerous minor members of the extended House Lannister who exist in the background of the narrative, but they are so numerous and distantly related that members of the main line wouldn't think to mention them any more than they would their other vassals. Ser Alton Lannister, a cousin to Jaime, Cersei, and Tyrion from a lesser branch of the family. A prisoner of House Stark. Killed by Jaime as part of an escape attempt. He stated that his mother is Cynda Lannister. House Lannister of Lannisport, a cadet branch of House Lannister, formally organized as a distinct house. They directly rule the city of Lannisport for the main branch, while the main branch rules the gold mine-rich area of Casterly Rock in the nearby mountains above Lannisport. Reginald Lannister, a bannerman of Lord Tywin fighting for House Lannister in the War of the Five Kings. Ancestors. Lon the Clever, a legendary trickster who swindled Casterly Rock from House Casterly, ancestor of the modern House Lannister through the female line. King Tommen II Lannister, King of the Rock, who sailed to Valyria after the Doom and never returned. King Larenai Lannister, King of the Rock, who bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror and became the first Warden of the West. Ser Tyland Lannister, a member of the Small Council during the reign of Viserys I. Lord Daemon Lannister. Royal Court and Household. Queen Cersei's Small Council. Qyburn, Master of Whisperers and Hand of the Queen to Cersei I, killed by Ser Gregor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Queen Cersei's Queensguard. Ser Gregor Clegane, called the Mountain That Rides or simply the Mountain. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Boros Blunt. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Preston Greenfield. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Balon Swan. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Ares Oakhart. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Osmond Kettleblack. Killed by Sandor Clegane during the Battle of King's Landing. Ser Island Payne, the Queen's Justice. Status uncertain. Bernadette, handmaiden to Queen Cersei. Ser Amory Lorch. Poisoned under mysterious circumstances in Harrenhal. Rorge and Biter, criminals bound to the Night's Watch recruited into the Lannister army. Killed by Arya Stark and Sandor Clegane, respectively. Polliver, a man-at-arms serving under Amory Lorch and then the Mountain. Killed by Arya Stark at an inn in the Riverlands. Lowell, a man-at-arms serving alongside Polliver. Killed by the Hound at the same inn. Sworn to House Lannister. Vassal Houses. House Crakehall of Crakehall. House Leftward of Golden Tooth. House Lannister of Lannisport, a cadet branch of the main line. House Lorch. House Marbrand of Ashmark. House Payne. House Sarad of Silverhill. House Slint. House SWYFT of Cornfield. House Westerling of the Crag. Symbolism. The official Lannister motto, "Hear Me Roar," is a reference to the lion on the house's sigil, an animal that is powerful, fierce, and strong. Behind closed doors, however, they are known for their unofficial motto, "A Lannister always pays his debts." On one level, this represents the Lannister richness and their pride for it. They trade for having money, e.g. Tyrion Lannister's relationship with Bronn. On a literal level, this boasts their reliability and the honorable repayment. Unfortunately, this also has a dark flip side. When wronged, a Lannister seeks revenge. The Lannister colors are gold and crimson. Gold is associated with a crown and money, something the Lannisters have aplenty, and being the best, as in with a medal, just as the Lannisters see themselves as superior. It is also an eye-catching color that demands attention. Like their golden hair, gold is a color of sunny false appearances. Crimson indicates nobility and status. Both in the Roman and Elizabethan eras, crimson, and its natural derivative purple, were colors only worn by important people, such as monarchs and military leaders. Yet they are not truly royalty and gain stature by social climbing and being close to royalty. Tywin was Hand of the King, Jaime was in the Kingsguard, and Cersei married the king himself, thus enabling all her children to become kings and queens. Also, it is the color of the sun, which through its mythological and religious heritage is associated with many positive traits. The house sigil, a lion, is also symbolic. Throughout history, lions have always been depicted as kings of the jungle, again signifying their life of royalty. In the books. In the A Song of Ice and Fire novels, House Lannister was established many thousands of years prior to the book's opening by a trickster hero called Lon the Clever, who tricked the powerful Casterly family into abandoning their stronghold of Casterly Rock, which the Lannisters took for their own. The Lannisters have ruled the region known as the Westerlands ever since, getting rich off the many gold and silver mines in the western hills and mountains. During Robert's rebellion, the Lannisters sat out most of the war, refusing to heed the calls of King Aerys II Targaryen to aid him in crushing the rebellion. After the rebel victory at the Battle of the Trident, the Lannister army marched to the relief of King's Landing but, instead of helping defend the city, they brutally sacked it, killing King Aerys and his grandchildren. Robert Baratheon publicly pardoned the Lannisters for their actions and accepted their allegiance, marrying Cersei Lannister in thanks for Tywin's assistance. However, Eddard Stark saw the Lannister action as betrayal and murder, and has not trusted them ever since. Due to the actions of House Lannister, as well as being responsible for the brutal murder of Rhaegar's wife Elia Martell and their 2 children, this earned them the ire of Dorne and its ruling house, House Martell, in which both Regent and House made a full withdrawal from interacting with the royal court. House Lannister consists of a main branch led by Lord Tywin and a junior branch, led by cousins, that controls the city of Lannisport. The Lannisters are a relatively large family, though nowhere near as numerous as the Freys of the Crossing. A minor change is that in the books the heraldry of House Lannister features a lion passant, striding on all 4 legs, but in the TV series the lion is rampant, rearing up with its forepaws raised to attack. The variant with the striding, passant lion is still glimpsed on several occasions in the TV series, i.e. Tywin's battle flags during the Battle of the Green Fork, though it is not the primary version featured in promotional materials. According to the TV series' official pronunciation guide developed for the cast and crew, Lannister is pronounced Lannister. It rhymes with Lancaster. The conflict between the Starks and Lannisters in the series is loosely inspired by the English War of the Roses between the Yorks and Lancasters. Known members: Lord Tywin Lannister, Lord of Casterly Rock, Shield of Lannisport, Warden of the West, and Hand of the King to Aerys II and Joffrey I, slain by his son Tyrion. Lady Joanna Lannister, his wife and cousin, died in childbirth. Queen Cersei Lannister, Queen Dowager and Lady of Casterly Rock, his daughter, twin to Jaime. The widow of Robert I, formerly Queen Regent, Protector of the Realm and Light of the West. Ser Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, his eldest son, twin to Cersei. Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Tyrion Lannister, his second son. Called the Imp and Halfman. Formerly acting Hand of the King, then Master of Coin for Joffrey I. In exile after escaping the Black Cells for his alleged murder of Joffrey Baratheon. Currently with the Second Sons. Tisha, Tyrion's former wife. Raped by Tywin's men after he learned of the marriage. Status unknown. Lady Sansa Stark, Tyrion's estranged wife. Fled King's Landing after the death of Joffrey I, currently hiding in the Vale as Elaine Stone. Ser Kevin Lannister, Tywin's eldest brother, Lord Regent for Tommen I and Protector of the Realm. Assassinated by Varys. Lady Dorna Swyft, his wife. Lord Lancel Lannister, Kevin's eldest son, former Lord of Derry. Joined the Warriors' Sons. Willem Lannister, Kevin's second son. Twin to Martin. Taken captive at the Battle of the Whispering Wood and slain at Riverrun by Rickard Karstark. Martin Lannister, Kevin's third son. Twin to Willem. Taken captive at the Battle of Oxcross and recently freed in exchange for Robert Glover. Jaime I. Lannister, Kevin's daughter. Lady Jenna Lannister, his sister. Lord Emmon Frey, Lord of Riverrun, her husband and father of her children. Ser Tygett Lannister, his second brother. Died from a pox. Lady Darlessa Marbrand, his wife. Tyreek Lannister, Tygett's son. Missing since the riot of King's Landing and presumed dead. Lady Irmazond Hayford, Lady of Hayford, Tyreek's infant wife. Jaerion Lannister, his third brother. Missing in Essos and presumed dead. Joy Hill, Jaerion's bastard daughter. Ser Daemon Lannister, older, half, brother of Stafford and Joanna Lannister. Ella Lannister, wife of Daemon and mother to his son Daemon. Cousin of an unknown branch. Ser Damian Lannister, Daemon's son, Castellan of Casterly Rock. Lady Sherera Craighall, Ser Damian's wife. Ser Lucian Lannister, his son. Lana Lannister, his daughter, married to Lord Ontario Jast. Ser Stafford Lannister, younger brother of Joanna Lannister. Slain at the Battle of Oxcross. Lady Miranda Lefford, his wife and mother to his 3 children. Ser Davin Lannister, Stafford's son. Made Warden of the West after Tywin's death. Serena Lannister, Stafford's daughter. Mirielle Lannister, Stafford's daughter. Lenora Hill, bastard daughter of Jason Lannister, sister to Joanna, Stafford and Daemon. With unspecified familiar relationship to the main branch there is also Margot Lannister, a cousin of an unknown branch, who married to Lord Titus Peake. Martin has said that the War of the Five Kings is based on the Wars of the Roses in England from 1455 until 1485. House Lannister is inspired by the House of Lancaster right down to having a red crest and a lion as their sigil.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.